We're here today to talk to you about our 2023 season and to tell you all the reasons that we're so excited about the season and why we think you should be excited too.
I think it is everything you would want from an opera, but then bends things in really interesting ways in terms of expectation.
What is it about?
It's based on a medieval French poem of the same name, which is basically a dreamer, and it kind of deals with aspirations, dreams, the things we want in life. And the character of the dreamer is on a quest for a literal rose, and in that quest meets a lot of different, I would say, allegorical embodiments of the things that most plague us. To me, the other thing that makes Romance of the Rose incredibly exciting is we have a phenomenal ensemble cast, again, made up of singers that LBO audiences are familiar with, like Laurel Irene, who was in our double bill at the Ford, Anna Schubert, who was most recently in Justino, but also some debuts, some new artists that will be new to LBO patrons, and people making their professional debuts, very much in the LBO vein of us pushing boundaries with what opera can be in terms of the way she wrote it, polystylistic. It has musical theater moments. We have someone who hails from musical theater as the lead.
But it does feel like there's like, you know, like we're spinning the wheel on like which style it will land in, and then it lands for a minute, and then it lands in another style.
But because of that, it's like, it's accessible.
Oh,
you know? It's
yeah.
like very, like you're in it. You don't feel removed from it at all.
It's exciting. It's a world premiere of a piece that opens up sound worlds that I don't think anyone will have heard before. The second piece of the season, in an exciting way, merges, in the same way we're saying Romance of the Rose is polystylistic, I would say The Horse, which is the title of our second piece, is also a premiere of some sorts. It was commissioned by LA Nomadic Division up in Los Angeles and had a very limited run as a dance opera performance art piece. And Chris Emile has always been willing to dive into choreography for established pieces or world premieres. And I loved the idea of Long Beach being a home for him to develop new work. In the best way, I find it myself hard to describe to people because of everything that goes into it. But I think of people that might like Philip Glass's music or Steve Reich music or Brian Eno, you know, these things that are meditative and thoughtful.
One of the things that I found really compelling about the Horse is the autobiographical aspect of it. It's actually the story of Chris's life, his experience as a ballet dancer, how he came out of that, his experiences with religion growing up.
Yes.
All of that plays into it. So yeah, opera is traditionally sort of an impresario-led art form.
Yeah.
And we're trying to say, well, what about if the artists determine what opera is?
That's
Yeah.
it.
From all different mediums.
That's it.
And what does that look like? And that's the theme of our season, really.
Yeah,
So-
beautiful. That's totally right. And the virtuosity in this piece is Chris's virtuosity. You know, seeing The Horse, you're with Chris and you're just like, whoa, we're with you fully. And you're like, wow, he's really moving. Like he is like, and the dirt is hitting me. And then
Yeah.
the music is right next to you and you're like, whoa, overwhelmed with the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, the intimacy of being inside of it as opposed to on the outside of it for that piece is very visceral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really powerful.
The Feast is our first collaboration with Martha Graham Dance Company, which I'm really excited about. Janet, the artistic director of Martha Graham Dance Company, said to me, Martha Graham, during her lifetime, never choreographed to Handel, but should have. And The Feast kind of came out of that prompt because I've always loved this opera by Handel called Alessandro, which is all about Alexander the Great. And kind of parallel to that, had been looking for a way to bring Jakub Orlinsky, the countertenor, to Southern California. I wanted to create something that was not sitting watching a Handel opera in a proscenium in your seats, but how could we create something that also pulled from Baroque tradition of eating and drinking and being wild in the theater, and gave the Martha Graham Dance Company an awesome platform to explore repertoire and choreograph new pieces for some of Handel's music. And the idea came up to use the Noguchi Sculpture Garden. And I love that because it means Long Beach Opera is returning to Orange County, and we're taking our audiences into a really architecturally important venue. I get really excited thinking about Martha Graham in the Noguchi Garden because Noguchi, as an architect, designed a lot of her sets during her lifetime. So it has meaning in a lot of ways. Martha Graham coming to the OC, partnering with us, but also their dancers being in this garden that was a longtime collaborator of the founder of the company.
Then we end the season with a bang of a brand new, type of performance art that an opera company, as far as we know, has not really delved into too much.
Yeah, it's our second annual, what I'm calling our annual, Long Beach Opera Film Festival. So the whole festival this year is anchored by an animated short film. We're taking that piece and screening it, but we're also going to stage a Schubert song cycle in and around the Art Theater as a live experience.
Something that I just realized as we're talking is that the Christopher at Sea film was inspired by this Schubert song cycle. So this theme that opera can influence the creation of cinema.
Totally.
And then what that is, and then how does that connect to a live performance?
Yeah.
That's a really important and forward-thinking exploration that I don't know anyone else is doing that.
Congrats, you made it to the end of the video and you're still with us. We wanted to explain that these 4 shows are experiences you can't get anywhere else. And I was trying to think about, why should people see these? Why should you subscribe to LBO?
To see all the threads appearing within them all.
Yeah.
And how it's really connected to 19th century music and connected to 18th century music and connected to 20th century art making.
And medieval French poetry
and yet perhaps everything is new.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
I mean, the thing for me that stands out is this idea that we are bringing artists together, giving them a platform to create. We're showing all of the different kaleidoscopic possibilities of opera.
Yeah.
It's not just one thing. It's not a monolith. It is so many different things. And we're kind of finding all of those different things, like little sparkly gems, and putting them out for people to see and for people to experience and for people to be a part of.